Good Friday afternoon. My name is Jerry Miller, and this is the I Love CVille Show. Thank you kindly for joining us live in Charlottesville, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world, on the I Love CVille Network. It's good to be with you on a Friday, 3-day weekend on the horizon. A lot for us to be thankful for in this COVID world we are living in. A lot of news on today's broadcast. I think you're going to enjoy today's program. We got 3 fabulous people on the broadcast. Along with our guests, we'll talk no fans at UVA football. We'll talk serious cuts at William and Mary in Williamsburg, where I grew up, including the elimination of 7 sports programs that are really going to hurt a lot of student athletes and their parents. They've worked so hard to get to this point, and now they've been eliminated from William and Mary's future. We'll talk about that today. Crozet Running, a fabulous business in Crozet, going out of business. Another one local. These are our friends and neighbors that are shuttering their doors. So we'll talk about Crozet Running going out of business. We will also talk a positive story about a Charlottesville business expanding to Richmond. The new jobs number is out. We have job creation in August and unemployment going down in August. So there is a positive there. We have some predictions from the media as far as the ACC football season and how things are going to play out. And one of the biggest superstars in the world, an actor of epic proportions, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, overcoming COVID with his 2 daughters and his wife. Wow. That story for you on the I Love CVille Show. We'll talk date night as well on the broadcast and ask you what your favorite date night spot is in Charlottesville in Central Virginia. Do us a favor and hammer that like button. That would mean a lot to us. Like the show, share the show. Judah Wickhauer's our A-plus director. Judah, why don't we give some love, my friend, to Intrastate Pest and Service Companies, a home's best friend. Intrastate Pest and Service Companies. More than 50 years, this business has bettered our community and has made your houses and your homes stronger than ever. Intrastate Pest and Service Companies. So 3 guests. I'm going to pick up the pace and tempo on today's show because I want to allocate enough time to everybody. So Judah, a headline we've been talking about and we predicted would happen has now materialized and come true. The University of Virginia will begin fall with no fans in the stands. The only fans allowed, in fact, at Scott Stadium for home football games will be those related to the coaches and the football players. They will not surpass 1,000 people in Scott Stadium. So what does this mean for you, the person who bleeds orange and blue? Well, it means for a little while we're not going to Scott Stadium to cheer on our football team. It means you're going to be watching this game at home in some capacity or out at your favorite watering hole in some capacity. I think it's a bummer, right? It's a bummer because we know at Clemson they're going to have fans. It's a bummer because we know at Miami they're going to have fans. It's a bummer because at Notre Dame, who's going to be playing in the ACC, they're going to have fans. But unfortunately, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, the restrictions imposed by Governor Ralph Northam, very different from those in South Carolina, those in Florida, those in Georgia, and those at Notre Dame. So 999 people at Scott Stadium, all related to coaches or players. We'll see if that expands going into October. Do I think it will? No, I don't. Until we get more reliable testing or a vaccine, we're not going to be watching football. The question we really want to ask ourselves is this. It's not when can we go back to Scott Stadium. The question is how deep in the football season will we get? Virginia Tech yesterday, as we indicated on the show, they're having clusters, outbreaks within its football program. And the University of Virginia and Virginia Tech opened on September 19th. I characterized the likelihood of that game playing a 60-40 in favor of the game of 19th in Blacksburg. But as these clusters continue and as University of Virginia students are literally returning to grounds as we speak for the start of in-person school next week, we have to ask ourselves, everything we're seeing at VCU, at Michigan State, everything we're seeing at NC State and UNC Chapel Hill, with students returning to school and then them infecting the athletes in the athletic program, pretty much hurting the integrity of the bubble concept. I am not convinced we will play a full football season this year. That undoubtedly will have an impact on the local economy. I hope we have these games, and I hope instead of watching at home, we do it in a safe and social distance fashion at one of our fabulous watering holes. Peloton Station comes immediately to mind, the Virginian, the Biltmore, Boylan Heights on the UVA corner that need your help more than ever. Maybe one of the spots on the downtown mall, Citizen Burger Bar, Whiskey Jar, whatever it may be. Guys, we got to get out and support. We're not going to go to Scott Stadium. Let's go to a watering hole and support this team. So it's official. Only family, of players and coaches allowed in Scott Stadium for the foreseeable future. The next headline is an unfortunate one, and it comes from the school that I grew up going to, William & Mary and Jimmy Laycock at Zabel Stadium, some of my first experiences with college football. William & Mary is cutting 7 different programs because of COVID-19. The programs are men's and women's gymnastics, men's and women's swimming, men's indoor track and outdoor track, women's volleyball. They will be discontinued forever in perpetuity at the College of William & Mary in Williamsburg. Again, those sports, men's and women's gymnastics, men's and women's swimming, men's indoor and outdoor track, and women's volleyball, no more at William & Mary. This will leave the tribe with 16 sports. This stinks, man. And why it stinks is because the young men and women who are working so very hard to have a chance of playing college sports are now left with less options. And William & Mary is a phenomenal school. And the athletes that are within this athletic department, they are not playing for professional contracts. They're playing literally for the love of the game. The most authentic and genuine reason to play college sports, not to make millions of dollars on Sundays, but to just continue a sport that they love doing their entire life. COVID-19 impacting so many aspects of our world. Now college sports, colleges and their athletic departments slashing non-revenue sports. Many of the non-revenue sports, unfortunately, women, female, non-revenue sports. So what does that mean? Frankly, it means the student athlete has less opportunity to play college sports. It stinks. William & Mary has said, even if the alumni make an effort to save these teams, we will never bring them back in Williamsburg. If we do not have college football, if we have even an abbreviated version of college football with no fans in the stands, if men's basketball is impacted by COVID this year, and remember the men's basketball NCAA tournament in March accounts for over 90% of the revenue that the NCAA earns every year. The NCAA then allocates that revenue towards participating colleges and universities. So guys, I'm going to cut to the chase. Football is going to be dramatically impacted from a revenue standpoint. If football is canceled, and we don't know if it will, we don't know if it won't be, but we do know that if colleges ask students to learn virtually, but then ask the football players to tackle each other, sweat on each other, bleed on each other, breathe on each other, fall on top of each other because they make millions of dollars of the school, that frankly speaking is the definition of hypocrisy. If this becomes more of a talking point as cases outbreak and cluster in schools, I wouldn't be surprised if football is abbreviated even more, paused, or put on ice. If that happens, you'll see cuts at UVA. You'll see cuts at Virginia Tech. A lot of folks are saying William & Mary has an obscene endowment. The University of Virginia has $11 billion in endowment. Virginia Tech's endowment is through the roof. Why aren't we tapping this endowment to help save these college students and continue to give them a shot at their dreams, which is maybe gymnastics, which is maybe golf, which is maybe track and field, which is maybe women's volleyball? And the universities respond, we can't allocate this endowment except for what the donors gave us the money to. The donors said the money has to be used by this used for this purpose, or you won't get my jack, my green, my money, my moolah, my dinero. So the colleges are in a sticky position. Okay, I understand their position. They want to maintain the honor and the integrity and the relationship with their big money donors. And the big money donors say, I want my name on a building. I want my name on the library. I want my name on the business school. I want my name on a dormitory. And I'm giving you money for that particular purpose. So, guys, I'll cut to the chase. William & Mary, one of the first. Hampton University has cut programs. Old Dominion University has cut programs. None have slashed to the extent of 7 sports like William & Mary has. Guys, this will impact UVA, VCU, and Virginia Tech if things do not change. You heard it, okay? William & Mary is not in a silo. They're just the first to respond to stop the bleeding. So let's pray, and if you're a God-fearing person or not, we need to hope or pray, because the last thing I want to see is the volleyball players and the field hockey players and the track and field athletes, the softball players. Women's rowing makes no money for UVA. Women's rowing hemorrhages money. Track and field hemorrhages money. Wrestling and volleyball and golf hemorrhage money. Field hockey hemorrhages money. The only sports at the University of Virginia that are earning positive income for the University of Virginia are men's basketball and football. And men's basketball and football, their earning potential, a shadow of their former selves. The next headline, a positive one, before we get to a sad one. We have a business in Charlottesville, Virginia. It is called Bittersweet. Bittersweet is located on the Charlottesville Downtown Mall. It's a women clothing retailer. They're expanding from Charlottesville to River City, that's Richmond, Virginia. Bittersweet Boutique plans to open a shop in Carytown on West Cary Street in October. Positive news for Bittersweet. Very excited for this team. They also have locations in Lynchburg and Roanoke. So expanding to a 4th location for a brick and mortar retailer, that is an anomaly. And that is unique. And we need to champion and celebrate this team and this brand. We need to champion and celebrate Paula Peckick for making this move. She is betting Richmond will be a fertile ground for her company to focus her trendy bohemian fashion pieces aimed at college-aged young professional women. And there are many of those in River City and Richmond, especially with the University of Richmond, with VCU, and the strong employment foundation in RVA. So that's positive. Another place for retail and commerce for a Charlottesville-based business. I love it. Job well done. Now, a sad bit of news from brick and mortar retail comes from a running shop that has done quite a bit for the Crozet community. Crozet Running is going out of business. Judah has a couple of photos that he's rotating on screen. He's our director. Judah, if we can flash those, you're doing that. Thank you, sir. Look at the screen, look at the screen, look at the screen. You see the husband and wife behind this family business? It pains me as the owner of a family business whose wife is actively involved in the company. It pains me, and it's a kick in the gut when I see a husband and wife and their hard work and sweat go down the tubes. So I want to salute Crozet Running for a job well done. Thank you for your service to that community. Thank you for offering running shoes for everybody. We wish you the best of luck in your next endeavor. I don't like seeing entrepreneurs have to close their doors because of something that's out of their control, a pandemic we've never prepared for or even imagined, and a federal government who halted and shut the economy down and ordered everyone to stay home. The collateral damage of a pandemic and shutting the economy down for, 30, 45 days is husband and wives and their sweat equity in their businesses. In the Charlottesville community and communities across America, they are now closing shop for good. That's collateral damage. Crozet Running, thank you for your service. We appreciate everything that you have done for this community. A bit of positive news. I try to emphasize as much as positive as possible in today's landscape. This bit of positive news, guys, and if you have comments if you want to give some positive praise to Crozet Running, if you want to talk UVA sports, if you want to give some positive praise to Bittersweet, put them in the Facebook comment section of any of the Facebook pages you're watching the show upon. If you're watching on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, put them over there. I'll relay your comments literally on air, and you can influence the pace and tempo of this show. Some positive news, Judah, we need to get to, and that's the jobs report for August. Guys, we created just under 1.4 new jobs in the month of August. These are jobs that went away when we shut down the economy. Furthermore, unemployment, which was 10.2% in July, has now dropped to 8.4%. So roughly a 2% nationally, a drop in unemployment. Good news. Good news. The sector that led the hiring for new jobs, government hiring, led the way. We still have a tremendous amount of people unemployed or underpaid. 8.4% of Americans without work, even more being underpaid because their employers don't have the customer demand to return them to the income that they were once earning in February of this year. Still hope and positivity. We hope, we cross our fingers that positivity will continue through September and into October. There's no question we have a major event with the election on November 3rd that's not only going to impact the economy, that's not only going to impact unemployment, but it's frankly speaking going to impact the mood and the mindset of Americans from California to Charlottesville, Virginia. So we're going to continue reading the tea leaves and to see what happens. I will say this from a macro standpoint, we've had back-to-back losses and now a second day of massive contraction on Wall Street. Massive contraction. In particular, the NASDAQ, which I'm heavily invested in. A lot of those tech companies are retreating with their positions. And their stocks are going southward. So we need to watch as we head into this 3-day weekend what the market does going into the 4 o'clock closing bell. Because whether you want to admit this or not, and many people say Wall Street is not an indication of Main Street or our local economy, regardless, what happens on Wall Street gives and creates consumer confidence for those of us that are invested in the market. And yesterday was rough, and today's not looking much better. I'm looking at the screen there, and there's red across the board. So follow that closely. The next headline. You know what? Why don't we save the headline so we can welcome Scott Ehrenworth into the show? He's a foodie of tremendous proportions. We'll talk college football and Virginia Tech and the University of Virginia and Clemson, where they're picked to finish. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson overcoming COVID. Not only The Rock, but his beautiful daughters. Remember, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has a farm in Orange County, Virginia, so he spent a lot of time here in Charlottesville. And we're going to talk the best date night spots in CVille during COVID-19 on the I Love CVille Show. I'm going to table some of those comments for now while I welcome a guy who I'm proud to call a friend, a man who I've followed very closely as a very strong foodie. Judah, we have Scott on the line. Scott, let's get that camera activated so we can see that handsome mug of yours, sir. And you're going to be live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. Tap that camera so we can activate that screen for you on your end. Judah, we'll start with the on-screen graphic for now till Scott gets that camera on. Scott, welcome to the show. You're live for a lot of people. Before we talk restaurants, there you go, Scott. We got it. I love the UVA background and the banner. I love the earbuds. This guy is not only a talented Esquire, but he's been coming to Charlottesville for a long time thanks to his father. And he is a huge evangelist and ambassador of our Charlottesville food community. Before we talk food, Scott, how about an introduction?
Jerry, welcome. Can you see me?
I can see you, man. I can see you just fine. How about an introduction to you? Tell us about you personally first. You got me, Scott? Can you hear me?
I got you, Jerry.
Okay.
You got me?
I do. Who's Scott Ehrenworth? Introduce us to yourself.
Jerry, I am a lawyer from... Okay, cool.
Go ahead.
Jerry, I'm born and raised in Norfolk. I don't know which...
You're doing great, man. We can hear you just fine.
Jerry, there seems to be some sort of audio issue, but I'm just going to talk, okay?
Sure.
Jerry, I'm born and raised in Norfolk, went to law school in Ohio, then moved back to Virginia Beach. Lived here all of my, since the last 20 years. Fell in love with Charlottesville, especially the food. What's happened with Charlottesville, I hate to see what's going on with COVID-19. I had about 3 or 4 trips planned there. Not been able to come, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. But I do want to tell you, Jerry, if I may, what started me off with coming to Charlottesville was my father, UVA grad, so he'd bring us up in the morning or bring us up twice in the fall to see football games. The only places I remember are Little John's and Anna's Pizza. Little John's and Anna's Pizza. Great places. And then as I got older, I learned about the White Spot. I learned about Wayside. And after that, my sister went to business school up there. I learned about Biltmore. I learned about, in my opinion, the best sandwiches you can get, which is at the Bel Air Market. That Farmington, banging 100%. Love the sandwich there. Then I went into private practice around 2016. 2017, I had to go to a federal criminal law practice or conference up there. That's when I went to Citizen. I'm trying to remember all these places, Jerry. There's so many of them. Citizen Burger Bar in the Fitzroy. Great burger at this Fitzroy. They smoke their American cheese. Not enough places do that. And I also learned about Bluegrass and the city market. And I do want to give a shout out, if I may, Jerry, to the bagel ladies. I have missed coming up there. I have missed Cynthia. I have missed Janet. That bagelini, there's a picture right there of, I'm seeing some French fries, some goat cheese dumplings at Bang. The French fries, shout out to Daniel Kaufman, by the way. Best French fries, I believe, in Charlottesville is at Public Fish. But then, Jerry, the story to me that really turned everything around for Charlottesville, and you and I have talked about this off the air, is Miso Sweet. Miso Sweet, I went in there and got coffee milk, which I don't know of any other place that does coffee milk. And I also got a donut, which had chocolate chips and potato chips.
Wow.
Not rocket science, but pure genius. And Frank came down. I don't know if you remember Frank.
I do.
Frank came down, talked to me, ended up buying me a donut. And I realized that Charlottesville is so much more than great food. It's incredible people. So when you combine the food and the people, Charlottesville, in my mind, is the absolute best. I also learned that Charlottesville has, in the city population, the second most restaurants and I don't know it may have been different after COVID, but the second most restaurants after San Francisco.
Per capita.
Charlottesville's banging with food. But then I came back, Jerry, right. By the way, that's that French onion soup at Prime 109, that picture. I don't know what they're doing there with that French onion soup. Most places, and I know I get really specific with food, most places with their French onion soup, it is about 80% broth. That's about 50% broth. The other 50% is the croutons, the cheese, and the onions. But to get back to where I was going with it, Jerry, I actually came back. I'm sure you remember this. This was after that horrible August incident. They had the concert. I came down that weekend for the Tom Tom Festival, which is really 2 of the times I come down every year to Charlottesville. I try to come down 4 days, Thursday through Monday, for the Tom Tom Festival and get the food. But the people are great. The food is great. What questions do you have for me, Jay? I could go on and on about food. I love the food.
I have so many questions. And if you have the show running on a different device, turn that audio off so you can hear us clearly. So I'm going to throw this.
Now I can't, Jerry. I'm sorry.
No problem. I'm going to throw this to you. You ready?
Yep.
Give the viewers an insight to these 3 and 4 day benders that you go on when you come from Virginia Beach to blow off some steam to Charlottesville. And I'm going to straight up say this, guys. The number one foodie in Charlottesville, Virginia, may not even live in Charlottesville, Virginia. I honestly think it might be this guy. And this is coming from someone in me that goes out almost 5 days a week to eat. So talk about the benders you go on when you come here.
First of all, Jerry, I would have a heart attack. And I'd weigh 5,000 pounds if I lived in Charlotte.
Not when you go to tell us in the spin studio. They keep you in shape, dude.
I do want to say this, and then I'll get to the benders. Pervello, which is the best spin studio I've ever been to, Pervello was a life changer for me because it allowed me to actually work out and eat at the same time. I was just typically, I call them foodcations. I would go on these 4-day foodcations. I would walk a little bit. But now with the spin, Kristen Watson's rocking it over there with Brenna and Kendall and Lauren and all of them. But they've allowed me the ability to sweat some of the calories off and eat more. But to answer your question, it typically starts, Jerry, I get in the morning, around 11, because I know how crazy Lampo is. Get there, start off there with seeing Lauren or Andrew or any of the guys over there. Eat there. Then probably go over to Quality Pie, get a slice of pie, then go back to the hotel. I try to stay at the Graduate because it's walking distance from the corner. It's walking distance from Pervello. Kind of relax. Then 4 o'clock, I'm headed over. Public Fish, shout out Daniel Kaufman. Get the oysters, get the French fries, and then I'm over to Belmont area, which I believe is the best food in Charlottesville.
Wow.
The fact that it's got Moss, it's got Junction, it's got the local, and it has, in my mind, one of the top 2 restaurants in Charlottesville, Lampo. Not Lampo, I'm sorry. Well, Lampo's over there too, but Tavola. I will always try to sit at the bar, talk with Dylan, have him bring out the burrata, and then the carbonara, and then the tiramisu. And how's life doesn't get any better than that?
No.
And then it's headed over. Then it's headed over to the downtown mall, Jerry. I'm sure you've been to all these places, by the way. Downtown mall, and then I'm getting a mojito, a Bobadero, going to get a drink over at the Alley Light, and then back to the hotel, and then walking down to Boylan Heights for a Wahoo, and then over to White Spot for a cheeseburger, and then home and crash. That's day 1, Jerry, and I've got 3 more days to go after that.
I mean, that's his first day. Let me throw this to you. That literally is his first day in Charlottesville, and this guy does it all the time. I'm going to straight up say this. I think the number one foodie in Charlottesville may live in Norfolk and not Charlottesville. All right, so can you, before we go to day 2 and day 3, is there a comparison at all to Charlottesville's food scene, to Norfolk's food scene?
Well, I live in Virginia Beach. And I have to tell you, and I don't mean any, this is supposed to be a positive conversation, so I'm not going to throw any shade at anybody. But what I will say is the food is nowhere close to what it is in Charlottesville. Norfolk has better food in my mind than Virginia Beach. There's a place in Virginia Beach I go to all the time called Froggy's. Shout out Deb Bickle and her husband. They have awesome food, but it doesn't come close. The quality is phenomenal. I mean, don't get me wrong. Not all the food in Charlottesville is great. But I'm about to say 80% of it is. And I think I've probably been to 60 or 70 restaurants there. And when I come on these foodcations, I'm going to the same places. I mean, how do you go to Charlottesville and not go to Lampo? How do you go to Charlottesville and not go to Tavola or Tavola? I'm not even sure how you pronounce it. How do you go and not get cookies from Harrison Keevil, who's, I mean, mad props for what he's doing, over at Keevil and Keevil? How do you not go, well, you can't go to Bluegrass now, but how do you not go to Paradox Pastry and get it better than Dave Matthews Brownie? How do you not go to Curtis Schaefer and get some of those fried pickles? It never ends. So and that's the first time and the only time I met you, Jerry, was over at Peloton Station, you and your wife and your child. I am bummed about COVID-19. You know, when I lived, I've lived through all of this, but for me, I wish everything had started in April because I had the hotel booked. I'm not saying Virginia would have got there, but I had the hotel booked. for the Sweet 16 and the Final Four, staying at the Graduate because I had done it the year before. You want to talk about incredible. Being down there, the attitude, the atmosphere, the food, the people. I don't know how you live there, Jerry. I look at you and you look maybe, I don't even want to say 150 maybe.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
How do you not weigh 3,000 pounds?
I work out literally every day. And I'm going to say the same thing for you, dude. You're slim, trim as well. And this guy has a voracious freaking appetite. So you're keeping it lean and mean as well. All right, here are questions already coming in for you here.
Shoot.
Favorite spot? I mean, how about favorite spots you're going to here?
Okay, I'll tell you my 5 favorites. And one of them is not in Charlottesville. It's in Crozet, and I'll let people think about what that may be. And I will say I am not a particularly healthy eater.
Me either.
So if somebody wants me to shout out about salads, you may want to talk to Barbara Lundgren or somebody else about that. You're not going to talk to me about that. But for me, it's Tavola, and number one, it's Tavola, and it's also Lampo. Number 3, Marie Bet. Baked eggs, hot chocolate. I've turned about 5 people that had literally come from out of town just to go there. That, to me, I would probably go 2 or 3 times a week if I lived in Charlottesville. Number 4, I don't know if they're going to reopen. I know there's some controversy going on. I love the people at Prime 109. I love their burger. I love their French onion soup. But, Jerry, I don't know if you've been there and had their mashed potatoes. I think they're putting 5 or 6 sticks of butter in it, maybe. It is so creamy. It is so good. And I love the people there. And, and I miss Ian being there. Ian would always, poutine's not even on the menu, but Ian would make me poutine when I was there. And the 5th one, smoked.
Love smoked. Smoked
in Crozet. Phenomenal burger. Great cheesy potatoes. And an absolutely, phenomenal maple bacon milkshake. So for me, that's my top 5.
I love it. I love this guy. You can tell he has a way with words. You can tell he's passionate about food. All right, let's throw this to you, Scott. And you're right. We are a platform of hope and positivity. Scott, we're hurting in Charlottesville. We're hurting in Charlottesville because of this COVID here. Give us a message of some hope and positivity, my friend.
This is my feeling, and I may be living in a fantasy world because I need this to happen. I'm a criminal defense attorney, so I make my money going to court. So if courts aren't fully open, it's hurting my pocketbook. And I haven't been out to Instacarting it. I'm a cancer survivor, so I'm not really trying to deal with it. So I Instacart or I order to-go food. I believe that the early part of next year, and I may be crazy, I think there's going to be a vaccine. I clearly hope that it's a good vaccine. We're all able to take it, although I've heard enough people say they're not going to take it. I'm going to take it. I'm going back to Charlottesville. I'm planning on coming on February. My birthday's February 12th. I've been there. This will be the 3rd out of the 4th year. I'm coming there. And I'm thinking positive about that. The idea of not being able to come back to Charlottesville for a while, it's depressing. It's depressing to hear about the restaurants that are closing there. It's depressing to hear about the restaurants that are closing here. But I think we're going to hopefully all get through this, come out on the better end, and just have an absolute kick-ass 2021. Yes. That's what my but it's going to take some work. It's going to take some work, but we will get there. I cannot wait to come back. I cannot wait to eat. I cannot wait to do spin back in Porvello and just hang out in what I think is the absolute best city in the world.
I love this man. I love this guy. I love this guy. I love this guy. The chefs in Charlottesville know this man inside and out because he goes out of their way to spend his money and support the locally owned businesses. All right, we talked about day 1 of your food kitchen.
And can I just say
Sure.
one other thing? Please, if you're going to these restaurants, make sure you're tipping these people. They're hurting for business. For me, Jerry, when I went there, I was always tipping them 30 to 40%. I think during COVID-19, especially if you have the money, you got to be doing it. The restaurant business is getting crushed. We don't want to see these places close down. I mean, for me to come back to Charlottesville and not get baked eggs, not get hot chocolate at Marie Bette, not being able to go over to get, now I know we think of public fish, we think of oysters. Have you had their French fries before, Jerry?
They are so good. You are so right.
I mean, are you kidding me?
Right.
Have you been to Farm Bell and had the French fries there?
They're so good.
I mean, so I don't want to see these businesses close, and that's my concern with COVID-19. I heard you talk the other day about the James on the River, which I have never been to, but the idea that these restaurants are losing money and are going to close, I mean, COVID-19 is going to crush us to come back and them not be there. I don't know. That to me is very bumming. I mean, my business will come back. I just want the restaurants to come back.
Amen, brother. Tavern on the James in Scottsville losing $7,000 to $10,000 a month. They need a minimum of $100,000 a month just to break even, and they have not done that in 5 months, which means the owners of Tavern on the James have dipped $35,000 to $50,000 into their personal savings to keep the business open. And the owner of the business straight up said, if this doesn't change, we close the doors in January in Scottsville, which is a kick in the nuts for me because I love that place. Let's talk about the foodcation, the benders you go on. You talked about day one. What happens on the other days?
Well, I try to go to, occasionally I'll go to the 29 Barracks Road or whatever it is over there. El Carbone, their chicken, you know, I never was going to say I was a rotisserie chicken fan until going to El Carbone. That's great. Their tacos are phenomenal too. Chandler's Bakery, I hope they survive. They're phenomenal. I was the 4th customer ever. I'm going to butcher their name. Guajiros.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a Cuban sandwich. So good. I hear they're moving to the downtown mallish area.
The old Parallel 38 spot in Midtown by Continental Divide.
Okay. Which, by the way, you know, I was thinking about how when I was trying to prepare for this, because as a lawyer, you prepare for stuff. Places that I'd like to go to that I've not been to. I've not been to Continental Divide. I'm sure that place is really good. Also included on that trip is a La Micho. Is it La Michoacana?
La Michoacana. Yeah.
Definitely going to Dr. Ho's. The pizza's phenomenal. Going to the local, as I've said. By the way, if you're there, they have a banana split. Ask them to make it into a milkshake.
What?
They'll do that. They did that for me a couple times. Phenomenal. Moss, the ham and cheese, the ham and cheese sandwich or the beef tenderloin empanada. Jerry, there's so many places that I losing track. If you don't mind, can I look down at my notes for a second?
Sure, please do.
C&O for the after hours burger. I don't know if people are going there. I don't know how many people are going to as I stated, Iron Popples. How's Iron Popples doing, Jerry?
Catherine Matthews' spot. I don't want to speak for Catherine Matthews. The spot is tough because she doesn't have the outside seating. And we know how important outside seating is. She has no outside seating. On top of that, as we both know, Scott, the inside seating at Iron Poffles is very small. So the restaurants like Iron Poffles or Petit Pois on the downtown mall, well, Petit Pois has downtown, but restaurants like Iron Poffles in a tough spot because of some of these restrictions, Scott.
I always will hit that place when I'm there. I tell you another place that I try to always hit when I'm there too, Modern Nosh. I never hear you give them any love.
Jewish Deli on Water Street.
And I don't know where there's another Jewish deli there.
I don't think there is.
So, I mean, I'm able to hit that place, which is cool. Where else do I go to? I'll try to hit big when I'm there. Not always 100%. Try to go get a sandwich at Feast. Definitely go, again, as I stated, Bel Air Market. I just eat for 4 days, Jerry. When I get back, I get on the scale and I've gained 10 pounds.
I've seen him do this. He goes on 4-day benders in Charlottesville and supports as many locally owned businesses as possible and never has a bad thing to say about these businesses. It's all positive.
Well, I will say I just have positives because I talked to my sister as I was getting ready for this. As a criminal defense attorney, I can lay down the hammer, but She said, just speak positive, just speak positive. But I've had some not great experiences. I don't go back to those places, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I definitely go to the places that take care of me. I mean, Daniel Kaufman, Kurt Schiffer, all of those people. But it's hard. I mean, my heart goes out to all of them. But I'm so happy that Provello is there. They reopened, and for me to be able to find a workout spot when all you're doing is eating for 4 days. That's why I joke with my friends. They're like, "Did you go to Barbecue Exchange on your way home? Did you go to Barbecue Exchange on your way home?" And I was like, "I've been eating for 4 days. I don't have 1 ounce of bite left in me." So
can I ask you a somewhat personal question here? How
Shoot,
and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. And these 4-day foodcations or these 4-day benders that you go on, and he does it all the time. Now because of COVID, no, but he does it all the time. Can I ask you how much money you spend
on food? I think it's fair to say I'm spending probably, because I tip very well too, by the way.
Right.
I think with food and tips, I'm spending an average of $200 to $250 a day.
So you're dropping,
if not more.
You're dropping close to $1,000 each time you come.
On food, yeah.
That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. This guy's driving Charlottesville's GDP all by himself. All right. So how do you feel when you come to Charlottesville and you recharge? How do you feel when you go back? You just feel better about yourself, right?
I feel I need a nap when I get home. But no, I feel 1,000 times better. I mean, the energy in that city. I try to also come when the kids or the college students are there because they're great energy. But I get great energy off of the restaurants. I get great energy off of the kids. I feel completely refreshed. There's a massage place there, a spa. There's like a salt spa.
Oh, yeah.
Near 4th Street.
On 4th Street. Yeah.
I'll hit that place up to just try to cool down, or maybe I'll go over to Boar's Head and get a massage there. I miss it, Jerry. I mean, I was there for the absolute worst. Well, no, I take that back because clearly in August 2017 was the worst day. But I think I was there for the second worst day, which was the UMBC game. And I was at Boiling Heights watching that game. And I do want to give a shout out to J.R. Hadley. Congratulations on getting engaged. We're in a great place. But then I came up the next weekend, or the next year, I was up there for the Sweet 16 when they beat Oregon. Then when they beat Purdue, which, I mean, there's nothing to say other than that Purdue game, Mamadi and Kike and all those guys. And then I came back for the Final Four and was able to stay, again, at the Graduate, which you know how close that is to Boylan. Hopefully all your viewers know that. Stayed for the Final Four and then stayed for the National Championship and was there. And then, of course, the next weekend, Jerry, was the Tom Tom Festival. So I think I spent about 12 or 13 nights out of like 2 weeks and 3 weeks in Charlottesville. So I feel refreshed. I love the place. I miss it. I'm over COVID-19 for my business. I'm really over COVID-19 for my lack of change. And I'm not going to come to Charlottesville. No offense to anybody. I'm not coming to eat in the car or eat in a hotel. And that to me is depressing. So I'm bummed, but I know I'll be back next year.
Why?
If not sooner. But
can I throw this to you? You are a smart man. You're an entrepreneur, a businessman, a criminal defense attorney. Have you thought about moving here? Because we would welcome you with open arms.
Jerry, I've worked a lot of years to build a practice down here. Charlottesville is a great weekend place. First of all, I don't think I could be able to live in Charlottesville. I'm not. I say this. I'm not joking. I would predict a heart attack in 5 years.
Scott.
I would predict a heart attack, and I also would predict at least 15 to 20 pounds gained a year. So if I live there 5 years,
can you stand up so we can see your physique? Stand up so we could.
No, Jerry, because I'm wearing.
Oh, he's wearing shorts. He's wearing underwear. I love it. I love this guy.
No, I'm wearing shorts. I wore a collared shirt, but I'm wearing shorts. So no.
Okay, he's slim and trim, though. He really is slim and trim. All right, let me throw this to you here. You are an A+ interview, Scott. A++. All right, close with
Sorry for the audio mix-up in the beginning.
Dude, no problem. Close anywhere you want to go. Any topic, a final word, anything you want to cover here, my friend.
Thank you. Well, I want to give a shout-out to you. I don't even live in Charlottesville. I haven't been to Charlottesville in months. I watch your show every day. Now, a lot of times I'm in court or I'm visiting clients in jail, so I'm still watching it on the replay. I love the guests you have. I love hearing some of the things. Some news I don't like hearing, about these restaurants closing. That's a bummer to me. But to hear that Lampo is opening up a second store, that's cool. I think we'll get through this. I'm not going to get into a political conversation. I do have some problems with the way the government is handling all this from both the federal level to the state level. Who knows what's going to happen with that. I feel horrible for restaurants, how you can have protests and have 150 people there, but at restaurants can only have 50 people or whatever it may be. So, but we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. We're going to be, I hope, even stronger than ever. And I cannot wait to come down for day one because I'm going to Lampo. I'm getting down there super early because I'm going to Marie Beck. Then I'm going to Lampo. Then I'm going to Quality Pie or the Pie Chest, another outstanding place. Then I'm going back to the hotel. Then I'm going to Public Fish. Then I'm going to Tavola. And then if I can even get room, I'm going to go get myself some sangria and a ham and cheese sandwich over at Moss. I love Charlottesville, Jerry. It's a great place.
Dude.
But we're going to get through this. We're going to be stronger than ever.
You hit a freaking grand slam. Your father would be so proud of you. Charlottesville, Virginia loves you. The chefs in this town love you. Scott, you are a class act. I'm grateful for your time.
You are too, my friend.
Thank you.
Take care, my friend. Nice talking with you all. I hope everybody has an amazing weekend.
You too, Scott. Take care, baby. I love that guy. I love that guy. Tisha, if you're watching, we're about to reach out to you. Tisha, we're going to you in 15 seconds. This dude comes for 4-day foodcations and is dropping a grand, $10, $100 bills on food alone. I swear, I go out all the time for food. It's part of I Love CVille. This guy may know food better than me. We have Tisha on the line, Judah. If you could do us a small, okay, you turn down the sound. Oh, you're in your business. You got the branding behind you. I love the red. It pops. You look absolutely beautiful. Okay,
thanks, Jerry.
Our pleasure. Before we go and talk shop in your business, how about an introduction to you personally?
All right, so my name is Tisha McCoy-Ntiamoah. I am the chief popcorn enthusiast behind PrePOPsterous gourmet popcorn and sodas, where we have, actually tomorrow, we will celebrate our 5-year anniversary as a business. So that's really exciting. And I come to this from, I always call it a dream deferred. I worked at a popcorn store when I was in high school, loved everything about it, and said one day I want to own my own popcorn company. And so here I am.
I love the branding. I love the name. Can you give us the insight? Because this is branding, advertising is what I do for a living. Can you give us some insight into how you came up with this fabulous brand, this fabulous name, and the fabulous look to this business?
Yeah, absolutely. And I cannot take credit for it. I'll be the first to say that. I had a name in mind. So when I started this business, I had a name in mind. And once I started, I went to go launch the business and realized that someone had chosen that name for another gourmet popcorn company in Texas a year and a half before and trademarked it. So there I am working with my graphic designer, and I gave him 3 rules. I said, it's got to have the word pop, centerfold, it's got to be whimsical, and it's got to be, just something very unique. And he connected me, fortunately, with a copywriter. And we went through about 250 to 300 different naming ideas. And it was in the 3rd round of the naming ideas that there it was. I wanted it to be one word, too. That was another criteria. So we found the name, and then we started working on the branding with the colors and everything behind it.
I respect your hustle, your chutzpah, your vision. We need all those as entrepreneurs. You're an absolute badass. Let's talk shop. Let's talk business. Let's first talk pre-COVID.
Yeah.
How's the business pre-COVID?
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing?
So Here's one thing about our business. We are an online retailer. And so when I started the business, I wanted to be really smart about how I started the business. A lot of people are comfortable taking that really big risk and jumping right into retail and all of that investment. And I chose a different route. So I chose to start in my home kitchen. First, because in Virginia you have the food cottage laws that you can start in your home kitchen, and so that's what I did. And then I moved into a private production facility. So where I'm standing now is about a 400 to 500 square foot private production facility, and we do all of our production here, and then we ship all over the United States. So that has worked well for us. It's been a good model to grow. Pre-COVID, not a whole lot going on. I mean, business as usual. In the midst of COVID, there's been a lot of different factors. One, we thought we would see a downturn in sales, and we did a little bit, but then we were featured in a lot of different places because we are a Black-owned business. I am the primary owner, 100% owner of the business. And so that bought us a lot. It got us a spotlight in a lot of different places, and so that has helped. We have been doing a lot of business for companies that want to reward their employees because everybody's working at home and just want to send a gift to say, you know what, thanks for all your hard work. Here's something to snack on while you're sitting there at your computer working really hard. So it's been, while I know a lot of businesses are struggling, for us it's been a slightly different experience.
You are awesome. All right, let's talk about this. That's a natural lead into a topic that's important. So, female business owner, we have to celebrate that. Black-owned business, we have to celebrate that. Do you think of the influence you're having on the next generation? I mean, because I often think like what we need more empowerment, and we need to champion women starting businesses and women becoming entrepreneurs and becoming CEO, becoming you, literally becoming you. Yeah. Do you think about that, and do you feel pressure at all with that?
I think about it, particularly with my children. I have 3 small children. I have a 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and my 6-year-old son will tell you he's the company taste tester. That is his role. That's what he gets paid for. And then, crazy enough, I had a baby right as COVID hit, so I have a 5-month-old. And so,
man, you look fantastic. You had a baby 5 months ago?
5 months ago.
You flossing. You look good, girl.
Thank you. So yes, I definitely think about what it means for my children seeing me start a business, grow a business, do the hustle, and do whatever it takes to make connections and help the business grow. And I also always try to reach out to other women entrepreneurs, in particular, even if they are Black or Brown-owned businesses, because I do want to see everyone succeed. So I'm involved a lot in other endeavors here in the Harrisonburg, Rockingham County area with the Chamber of Commerce, with Small Business Development Center, just lending my experience where I can so people can learn from my experience and hopefully to help their businesses too.
Fantastic answer. So shows like Shark Tank on CNBC, The Profit on CNBC, they make what we do seem like this glorious rock star lifestyle, which is the exact opposite of what we do. Like, I literally take the trash out of my business. I clean the toilets here in my business. I'm grinding 70 hours a week. Probably if you extrapolated our income across all the hours we work, we're working for not much, but we do it because it's our passion. Let me throw this to you. Can you showcase some vulnerability or some of the challenges you've had to overcome in your business? Maybe a firsthand story of where your back was against the wall and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can do this. Because it's important to emphasize to anybody that's watching, 80% of small businesses fail in their first 3 years. Hers is incredibly successful. But I remember when I launched my business 12 years ago, I did not have a customer for 6 months. Literally.
Yeah, it's not all glorious. And some days you wake up and you question, should I really be doing this? Because my background is in higher education. I was a higher ed administrator for 15 years at the local university here. And just a year and a half ago, I had the opportunity to step out into my business full time. So what it had looked like for me then when I was working full time, I would go to work from 8 to 5. I would come home have family time, and then I would go to sleep until about 2 a.m. and I'd get up at 2 a.m. in the morning, make popcorn, fill orders, and then go to work again. So, there is that hustle mode initially starting out. The vulnerability piece, when I had my baby, this is a true story, just 5 months ago, had my baby right as COVID was hitting the Shenandoah Valley. And I just said, I don't think anybody's going to be ordering any popcorn. So I didn't really think about it. And I had some complications that I needed to recover from his birth, and happened to log into my ordering platform. And I had several orders, like almost 30 orders that were just sitting there. And I wasn't in a position to fill them. And I literally just reached out to every single one of those customers and said, listen, this is what's happened. I had a baby. He was a month early. I had complications. I'm not in a position to fill your order right now, but this is when I will be back up and running. Do you want a refund? Or if your order isn't time sensitive, would you like to leave the order and continue to support our small business? I had 2 customers request a refund.
That's awesome.
All the others said, take care of yourself. Congratulations. Get my order to me when you can.
Oh, dude, I'm getting choked up over here. I have goosebumps from that. I mean, that's a testament to you.
Thank you. Well, and I think the kindness of people, with everything going on in the world today, I think it can be easy to assume that there's not buckets and pockets of kindness, and there really are. And so I really do thank our customers. And for those customers that chose a refund, I still sent them a gift box to say, hey, I realize that we weren't able to make your order, but if you ever have gifting needs in the future, please consider us.
Oh, that's brilliant. And I'm sure that went a long way with those customers. How about this? The advice you offer. We have many women watching this show, many girls watching this show. The advice that you offer to people who have an idea but are maybe afraid to start.
Oh, you have an idea, but you're afraid to start. Get those ideas down on paper and play with them. And know what your vision is, but don't be so fixed to the process that you're not willing to be flexible. And so by that, I mean, when I started with my vision, I wanted to be in retail from the get-go. And it was my husband and my Small Business Development Center advisor that said, start small. Think about farmers markets. Think about how you can launch this in your home. And so because I was able to be flexible, I think I've grown my business in a much smarter way and not taken on a lot of debt. And I kind of had this mentality of, if I fail, at least it's only my money I've lost. I don't owe a bank anything. But likewise, so I say get those ideas down. I'm a huge proponent of the Small Business Development Center. And I know there's one there in the Charlottesville area, but all over. They're usually connected to a major university. So I say seek out those resources, the best free business counseling you can get. And then I say just watch other people. Just watch, observe, develop those friendships, and see where you can go from there. And I would also say the last thing, strong branding. I think my brand has carried me a long way, and it was very intentional. And while a lot of people will invest on material things up front, the number one thing I invested in up front was my intellectual property, and I trademarked the brand because I knew I had a bigger vision for it than just being popcorn and just being local.
Good. You are a freaking rock star, man. You are a rock star. The brand behind her is so good. I mean, this is literally what I do for a living, and it's one of the best brands, I swear, I mean this genuinely, I've ever seen. It is why I love it is because it's memorable. It sticks in your craw and your subconscious. It's a play on words. I love the design. I absolutely love it. Your kids, your husband, your family. Maybe highlight the support they offer, and you know what? My son is 2. Okay, so he's got a long way to go before he realizes what daddy does. But there's nothing more that means to me when I see my little boy and he'll come up to me and says, "I love you, daddy," or he gives me a hug. And I'm working my tail off for him. I'm going to relay all that stuff to you anywhere you want to go.
Oh, let's see. For my husband, I can't thank him enough. He's a chemical engineer by education, and he works in pharmaceutical production. So he's my machinist. So when I have a machine that goes down, I break out the plan and I'm like, babe, help me with this. But he's been a huge support. He's also been one of the people that challenges me the most. So when I have a specific vision for something and I want to pursue it in a way that's probably more expensive than should be, he will challenge me and say, how can we do this differently? How can we start here and grow it to where you want to be? My family love them. They're in Chicago with one of, they live in the mecca of gourmet popcorn, as I consider it, with one of the major brands of gourmet popcorn there. And, but I can't thank them enough for their support as well, and friends, and just, I would say everyone around me that's been a part of my team and a part of this journey, I could not be more blessed. And I know where I wanted to start, and I know what my vision was, and I felt for a long time I was living in a very small corner of a very big vision. But I see now, and I'm a huge believer in faith in God and being in the right place at the right time. And every one of those people has come along in my journey at just the right time and had just the right skill set that I needed to shift my business to the next level.
Awesome. Awesome. Why don't we close with this?
Yes.
We're a platform of hope. And sometimes, as we all know, especially in uncertain times like this, it's hard to be positive and hopeful, but we still try to drive home that message every day with this platform. Anywhere you want to go, if you could offer a message of hope for a lot of people that are feeling a little uncertain right now.
Yes, and I would be one of those feeling a little uncertain, but what I keep in mind is I think hope begins with your immediate connection. So kindness and appreciation and gratitude begins with your connections with your neighbors, at church, with your kids' school teachers. And I think if we make those connections and hope and express kindness and gratitude and extend grace to those individuals, then they will further extend that to their networks as well. And I believe that if we continue to do that, then eventually we'll make it around the country and certainly the world, but definitely directly impacting our community to have that sense of hope and cohesiveness within our communities.
Oh, beautiful. You are poignant and poetic. Close with this. We want to buy some popcorn for you. How can we buy popcorn?
Yes. You can buy popcorn. Go to PrePOPsterous.com. That's PrePOPsterous.com and click on the Order Now line. We have almost 20 flavors, so we have a flavor for every taste palette. For those that are into weddings and things, we do wedding favors and party favors. So there's lots of opportunity out there. You can order everything from a gift box to a 6.5 gallon tin. So that's where you can find us online, and we will ship directly to you.
You are awesome. I truly mean what I'm about to say. I 1,000% after this interview trust your judgment. If you know of anyone and on the other side of the mountain that wants some positive attention from us, I 100% trust your judgment. They will be on the show if you recommend them.
Well, thank you, Jerry, and thank you I've watched your show for a long time, and I always thought, man, if I was just in Charlottesville. So I really appreciate the grace and the opportunity to come on your show.
You made us better today. It was our pleasure. Seriously, our pleasure. You have a good weekend.
Thank you, Jerry.
Take care.
Take care.
Take care. All right, now we're going to reach out to another entrepreneur on the show, and Jamie Schwartz of Pikasso Swig. We spotlight good people doing big things and making an impact positively in communities, guys. That's what this is all about. There she is, the co-star of Women Changing Our World, Jamie Schwartz, the owner of Pikasso Swig, and just an awesome person, Jamie Schwartz. Que pasa, Chico? How are you?
How are you? It's so weird to see you on the other side of the table like this.
I love that cork reef behind you. Did you make that?
I did. Pikasso Swig.
That is amazing. Jamie, que pasa? How's it going with you?
Going good. By the way, today's show is killing me. You know I've been doing the keto diet, and John with this carbonara and all these things, and then Tisha, I was like, I'm going to eat all the popcorn right now. I want all the popcorn.
Me too, Jamie. Me too. Let's talk. Okay, first question. Yeah. You, everything going with you? How's life? What's the good word?
Things are going good. I think it's a stressful time. Usually Kelly and I are talking on Mondays about all the good women and everything good that's happening. As a small business owner, it's really hard. it's hard. So, I have both sides of the thing. You have all these exciting things going on and all these people that are literally changing the world and doing amazing stuff. And then as a small business owner, I'm on the other side of it, struggling to keep things alive and keep things going. It's tough.
I feel like, and I don't want to assume that's what I'm asking though, I feel like, one of your strengths, one of the things that I really, really like about you is I like your energy, I like your positivity, I like your outlook in life. I enjoy being around you. I feel like that energy is like, it uplifts others around you.
Thanks, buddy.
I truly mean that. How do you keep it? How do you stay that way?
I don't know. I think you got to keep pushing on. My grandmother, always says this too shall pass. And I think that, we're all holding on and hoping that everything will pass. But in the meantime, I think you got to kind of live it day by day. And, you go hour by hour, you make this day the best it can be. And, you just keep pushing and realizing that there is so much good in the world happening. And although it's kind of hard right now, down the road we'll look back at it and hopefully be better.
Pikasso, Swig, you're pivoting, you're doing some innovation, you're changing things up. Anybody that's watching this show, if you're hosting a pod or any kind of virtual online learning in a neighborhood, contact this lady. She will bring art to you. We need art and creativity more than ever, especially now. Pikasso, Swig will do that. Give us some insight into the innovation you guys are doing.
So, I think with virtual learning, I think it's been super stressful for both parents, for kids, and I think that, our view is that you want your kids to be doing them, to be learning all the time, but you don't want them to be so bogged down in math and science and all these very heavy subjects. And I think that art is a way for kids to, express themselves and have a little fun. So what we're trying to do is really bring that into kids' lives, whether it's virtual or if it's an on-site pod, to have fun. We want to bring the fun. We want kids to be able to play in the dirt and explore and create and be able to be kids without that kind of heaviness. So this summer we did some virtual camps, which were super, super fun. The kids did amazing, even the young ones. They changed their name on Zoom to Justin Bieber, and they showed me how to work all these things. I was like, how do you change the background? And all these 6-year-olds were like, oh, Jamie, click the 3 buttons. And I was like, I got to get my glasses. But even if it's virtual, like we still are like listening to music and having fun and creating art and telling stories. So I think that, for our store, which really hasn't been opened yet to the public, we've been trying to do like a lot of online stuff and just kind of bringing the party at home. We've done lots of virtual ladies' nights, which are super fun. So we ship a bunch of ladies like wine and reeds, and all the ladies jump on, and usually they're an hour, but some of the girls, like, we stay on for 3 hours, and I'm like, tell me everything. Everything. I'm like, it's only an hour, and then 6 hours later, I'm like, oh my God, don't go. I'm a bottle of wine in. But yeah, we're just trying to bring the energy of the store and what that was, because on site we used to have dance parties and we had amazing food and beer and wine, and we're just trying to do it virtually. So if I ship people all that stuff and they jump on a call, we're still kind of hanging out and doing that together.
I love it. I love it. You and one of your besties, Kelly Jackson, have launched an amazing show called Women Changing Our World, and they're getting guests of global caliber. Okay, global caliber guests. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Kelly. Let's talk about this this bubbling brand that you guys have created. It's amazing.
So thank you so much. Kelly and I worked really hard on it. So Kelly and I actually met at Pikasso Swig. So Kelly and I, she brought her kids in, and we became pretty close very, very quickly. Like, we just have kind of the same energy. We were always, like, very close right away. I love her kids. I love her family. And when we started this show, it's really just an extension of just us hanging out. Like, sometimes we forget that you're even recording it, and I, like, think about it, and I'm like, I literally just sat here for an hour and a half, just like I would at home, and I just talked to Kelly. But the addition of these amazing guests, like, we're going to have Rabia on from Serial. I mean, that's incredible. Like, we have been so lucky and so fortunate to talk to these women all over the world that are doing such amazing things. Like someone who hiked the 6 of the world's highest peaks. Like when I write back to these people, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like I am like, oh my God. You know, and even I try to, and Kelly always writes back and she's like, she's really a stalker. Like, you know, definitely don't give her your phone number. So we have this dynamic where I definitely am so excited about all of them.
Your show airs 10:15 on Mondays on Women Changing Our World and the I Love CVille Network. And these creative and innovative businesswomen and visionaries are also doing cooking and cocktail hours on the Women Changing Our World page. I watched the last cooking and cocktail hour from start to finish from Kelly's kitchen. And my favorite part, I mentioned this to Kelly the other day, my favorite part was when you're making stuffed mushrooms, I believe. Kelly busts out the block of cheese with the grater, and Jamie goes, "What? We're shredding cheese? Don't we just buy shredded cheese?"
Why would she do that? I'm still confused. I don't even understand why she wouldn't buy it. She said it's fresh. I'm like, it's just a processed block of cheddar cheese. Like, let's be real. We didn't like farm it or anything, Kelly. But so she made me, I'm the assistant. I'm grating the cheese. She's like, get on it, grate that cheese. But yeah, so we're trying to do some fun stuff. We want to keep people engaged. And I think with cocktails, what we're trying to do is really showcase some other local businesses. So that's our goal. Like Kelly and I owning, you know, we own very different businesses. And I think like the best part of our dynamic is we're continuing to learn from one another. So to have Kelly as a mentor, she's been in business a lot longer than I have, to have her as a mentor and to be able to kind of bounce things off her has been really one of the greatest gifts to me working on the show. But with cocktails, you know, we're trying to get on different local businesses. So different local wines, Vitae spirits, different spirits locally that we can kind of highlight them, because I think that everyone's having a really hard time. And if we can kind of support our local vineyards, because we have so many amazing wines, you know, everything. I think that if we can support them through cocktails and have a little fun with them, I think that that will be, and if we don't blow up the kitchen, I mean, I feel like that'll be. Kelly's husband just hides upstairs. He locks himself, and I'm pretty sure because that's like a fireproof section of their house. So he takes the kids up there, and I think he's just waiting for the whole thing to explode. And Kelly and I have no idea what we're doing.
Well, when it comes to being experienced in the kitchen, and this is crazy to say, Kelly might be the most experienced of you two, and she don't cook that much either, does she, Jamie?
Which is crazy. Like, she gets out the air fryer, and I'm like, ah!
Kelly said on one of those videos, this is what I do for food, and I'm paraphrasing, just put cheese on it. Just put cheese on it.
Yeah, we don't even know the difference between kosher salt and regular salt, but I try to pretend like I do because I do cook a little bit. Like, I'm a pretty good cook, but I'm not, you know, I'm not grating the cheese. Let's be real. I try to Instacart it a little bit and definitely get the shredded. I mean, don't be a savage, people. Get the shredded cheese. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? Like, don't step up the game that much. It's the first episode.
You are effing hilarious, Jamie. You are hilarious.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how cocktails go, and hopefully we're going to try to keep it only to 30 minutes or an hour, because after an hour, it gets a little bit dicey.
Well, that's because you guys are having some cocktails.
It gets a little dicey after about an hour. So after an hour, Camryn Limousine has to come get us, or we got to Uber home. So we try to keep it short and sweet.
So you're saying Adam's not driving you home?
No, Adam's just like, ugh, when is she getting out of my house? I always come over, I'm like, hi, Adam, and he's like, I can't believe you're here. Like, he looks at me just, you here again? How could she be here again? And he always, his famous thing is, I'm making chili. Adam makes the best chili. So when it gets about dinner time, Adam's like, Jamie, do you want a bowl? I'm like, I do. So I'm just kind of like the fifth member of the family at this point. And we text, you know, our dads, so our dads text back and forth. Kelly's dad and my dad are both very hands-on.
Your dad, her dad is texting me. Her dad is Facebook messaging me. That literally is happening, Jamie.
To say that, it's so embarrassing sometimes. But my dad, both of our dads are the same. They call constantly. They text all the time. So it's a very tight-knit, so talk about a pod. You want to talk about a pod? Kelly's family and our family have the tightest pod going on. So we're going to see. It's going to be crazy, but tune into our show. It's
Mondays, 10:15 a.m. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram. It is bona fide, entertaining, educational. It is awesome. So let me throw this question. I threw this to Tisha as well. Women in business. Women changing our world. You embody that mindset and that moniker. I think we need more women in business and more women changing their world than ever. I am worried, Jamie, that a lot of the virtual learning responsibility is going to fall on the shoulders of the moms, which could impact a generation of women trying to climb a career ladder here. Anywhere you want to go on this topic.
100%, and we talk about that a lot. I think that it is. I think the learning, the virtual learning and everything at home is falling on a lot of women. I think that that's why we really need to band together. And like when you find friends and different moms, like that's why I really love the idea of these pods, because you're basically utilizing your friends and the friendships that you have to kind of help support you through that. Because as businesswomen, we don't want to give up on our dreams and what we've worked for to create these businesses. And I think that if we can all kind of pull together and you utilize your friendships and utilize that, you know, if you could take a break, or even Pikasso, Swig, like that's why we're trying to offer virtual classes that parents don't have to help as much. It's like we're trying to take the burden off you, even if it's for an hour. You know, like utilize your friendships and the people around you so that you at least get a break, because I think we're going to have to push on. I think it's going to change. Women are going to be working longer hours. You know, I don't have kids, but if I did, you know, you're getting up in the middle of the night, you're updating websites, you're updating social media. I think that our days are going to be longer. Even though moms have a long day now, our days are going to get longer. Because I do believe that women should not give up on their dreams or their businesses. Having a family is one dream. I think a business is another. And I think that I would hate to see people give up on that.
Schwartz, that was awesome. Good night. That was awesome. Okay, let me throw this to you here. She recently, with a client we have, Dominion Custom Homes, did an incredible job as a spokesman walking through one of John Kerber's homes. And I'm going to emphasize to anybody that's watching this show that needs a female spokesman of any capacity to represent their business, this is the female that you should reach out to. Okay? I mean, you can tell she's phenomenal on camera. She's a tremendous spokesman. She has experience about doing this from Browns. She was the face of Browns for so long. I mean, Jamie, you crush it with that spokesman role.
So that video, I was watching it back. I was so impressed by that home. I cannot believe. So if any of you have not watched seen John Kerber and all the stuff that they're doing at Dominion Custom Homes, it is incredible. When I walk through that house, like even though Jerry's like, talk about this house, you remember, I was walking through every detail of that house. It was like the railings. It was where he put the outlet. It was every single fixture. I was so impressed. And his wife could not be more adorable. She's impressed by her. Like, what an amazing family. That company is incredible. Really.
I agree. My friend, how about, let me throw this to you. Same question I threw to Tisha.
I think I should stop. Like, the problem is that I always fall in love with these brands. Anytime I do something, I'm like, I'm so obsessed with this brand because I never want to put my name on something that I don't know. And so, like, anytime that I ever do like something where I'm speaking about a company, I really have to make sure that I feel kind of comfortable, but then I do fall in love with them and I get so obsessed that I can't stop.
I love it. And that's why people like you. Okay, so 2 more questions for you. Give us a preview of what we can expect from Women Changing Our World in the next couple weeks.
Oh my goodness. So we have on Rabia from Serial. If you have not listened to this, you absolutely have. I can't imagine that anyone would not have listened. Serial is the most widely downloaded podcast to this day in history. It's about a crime that happened up in Maryland, and this person, Adnan Syed, was convicted of murdering his ex-girlfriend. And there's this whole rabbit hole that you can go down. Rabia wrote an amazing book, incredible. The next week, we also have, from the Eco Challenge, we're interviewing someone who was on the Eco Challenge, and she's competed, and she was on this American team, and she's amazing. And then the week after that, we have Kay Haring, who was, if you guys are super into art and you remember back in the late 80s, 90s, Keith Haring was an incredible artist. He was friends with Andy Warhol. He was hanging out with Madonna. I mean, like this guy, he was drawing on the subways in New York. Incredible. He passed away and his sister wrote this book, a children's book all about him. So we have Kay Haring on the show, which is incredible. So we have some big people coming up. Each one of them has their own unique story, which I love. Some of them are sad, some of them are inspiring, some of them are just It's kind of ups and downs, which I love. Like we always want to highlight women that are doing amazing things in their own industry in their own right.
She's doing amazing things at Pikasso Swig. Pikasso Swig, 5th Street Station. Pikasso Swig, 5th Street Station. Support this business. Support this business. All right, final question. Vulnerability, uncertainty. We're not sure what's going to happen here. We're all feeling scared. I am constantly, all of us. That being said, Jamie, you are a glasses half full type of gal. I'm a glasses half full type of guy. Anywhere you want to go, I'm hoping for a little hope from you, Jamie.
Yeah. I mean, who would have thought, if you're starting a business, a pandemic happens? Like, what are the odds? You know what I mean? Like, you never think to write that into a lease. You think about the water that could pour through the ceiling, but a pandemic. I think keep pushing. I think as an entrepreneur, at least for us, for Pikasso Swig, we are going to do everything that we can to keep those doors open. We will, sell all the furniture in our home or, deliver to Waynesboro or get out there. We're going to expand our reach. We're going to, everyone says pivot, but we're going to pivot. We're going to do some online stuff. We'll do some corporate events. We'll do some birthday parties. The business model is changing, and we don't even know what the business model will be in 6 months. We're going to keep it fluid. We're going to keep it open, and we're just going to keep pushing. We're just going to keep barreling forward, and, we're going to keep those lights on no matter what we have to do, for sure.
I would run through fire for you right now.
Thanks so much. You might have to. In case we lose the electric in our house, we actually might have to run through the fire to keep warm. So
support Pikasso Swig, please, guys. She is the spokesman that you need if you're launching a TV campaign or a radio campaign and you need a female actress. Call her.
Yeah. Thank you. The actress. Yeah. I promise I'll do my hair next time if you hire me.
Don't you? You have some actress in you, girl. You know you do.
Can you imagine? Yeah, just my dressing room is just filled with wine and Cheetos.
And now hold on. What was and Truly's?
Yes, Truly and Branch Basics.
Yeah, Truly.
That's what my dressing room would look like. Truly, Branch Basics, Cheetos, and wine. I'm a very bougie actress. Yeah, me and Angelina Jolie.
You crushed it. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, buddy. It's so good to see you on this other side. I like the angle from here. Your haircut looks good.
Thank you. You look very nice, too. You have a good weekend.
You too. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you next time.
Sounds good. Take care, Jamie.
Thanks, buddy.
All right.
Bye.
All right. She's awesome. Pikasso Swig, 5th Street Station, guys. Give the show a like and a share now. If you have comments you want to get in the comments section, do it now, and I will relay your comments live on air on the I Love CVille Show. 3 fabulous people are guests today on the program. I still have some news that I need to get to before I get to your comments. Your comments coming up in 6 minutes. Guys, some things out of the notebook from Charlottesville and college football standpoint. Virginia Tech has been picked to finish 5th in the ACC. UVA has been picked to finish 9th in the ACC, and Clemson is picked to win the entire Atlantic Coast Conference in football. Clemson has won 5 straight ACC championships, okay? The media is picking Dabo's team to win yet again. Remember, Notre Dame is now part of the ACC this year, and for this season alone, they have done away in the ACC with the Coastal and the Atlantic Division, and everyone's just put in one big group. So Clemson picked to win, Notre Dame picked to finish 2nd, Va-Tech 5, and UVA in the 9th spot. One other item before we get to your comments, and we'll also talk best date night spots in CVille in a COVID-19 landscape. The Rock, yes, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, yes, one of the most popular actors of all time, certainly now. This gentleman, very vulnerable on Instagram, and he straight up said, guys, we got COVID, not just me, but my daughters and my wife, and we're doing the best we can to absolutely overcome it. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, I appreciated the vulnerability you just showed for the entire world. I mean, literally the entire world. Every media outlet picked that up. So, date night spots in a COVID-19 landscape. We are enjoying date nights, okay? And you can do it safely in a social distance fashion in Charlottesville. I think the ones with the patios are where you need to focus, okay? Especially if you have any apprehension on the husband or wife's side for safety. The Whiskey Jar, open with a patio. Citizen Burger Bar, open with a patio. Public, open with the patio. These 3 spots, there are many that are open with the patio. Timberwood Tap House, open with the patio. Public, Citizen, Whiskey Jar, they are literally doing it the right way. So if you're looking for something to do over the 3-day weekend, 3 suggestions for your wife, your husband. If you want to get rid of the kids, you want to have a socially distanced and safe dinner, we've done it. They're doing it right. Those 3, among many, I'm not excluding anyone or just giving the attention to them, many, but we've done it at those 3, and the staff has been bona fide and legitimate. We also did it at 3 Notch Brewing Company, and they're doing a hell of a job with safety. All right, let's get to some comments. Judah Wickhauer, before we close the show, remember the I Love CVille Daily Digest is 5 o'clock today, where we do this show in 5 minutes or less. So Andre Xavier says, no games will have fans in 2020. You can be sure of that. That's really sad. Well, Andre, remember, Miami, the University of Miami has fans. Clemson University is going to have fans. The University of Georgia is going to have fans in their arena and their stadium. So colleges are having fans. Now, the state of North Carolina has said no fans at college football for all of September, and the University of Virginia and Virginia Tech will have under 1,000 fans in the stadium. But there are some home field advantages like Clemson and some home field advantages like Miami that, frankly speaking, are going to be much more substantial than what UVA and Virginia Tech have at $9.99. So let's see here. We got Anita McCoy Duncan. She says, Tisha, you were great with your interview. I absolutely concur with that. Anita, she was awesome. Alice McCoy says, awesome popcorn and very quick delivery. Jeanette McCoy says, look at my niece. She is doing absolutely wonderful. David Christopher McCoy says, Tisha is an absolute badass. She absolutely did well with that interview. Other comments coming in. Jamie Schwartz says, Scott Ehrenworth, you're killing me. I'm going a keto diet and I want to eat all the food that you're talking about. Scott Ehrenworth, you crushed it. Liz Gill Martin says, Scott Ehrenworth is the best. Oh my God, the Cuban sandwich at Guajiros is amazing. Jamie says, Scott, when I'm off my keto diet, you're the first person I am calling. Food tour with you. Tara Handy Palmer says, yes, yes, yes to all of it. Logan Wells is watching the program, and she says, Tisha is absolutely amazing. We have people watching in Northern Virginia that's saying they're going to order Tisha's popcorn as we speak. I love that. Support small businesses, guys. They mean the absolute world to us. Scott says, 3 Notch has a banging steak and cheese. I forgot to mention that. Kelly Jackson is watching. She says, Jamie, you're the absolute best. I concur. Great show today. A lot of positivity and high energy on today's program as we head into the 3-day weekend. We're going to take a breather on Monday, spend some time with our families, and come back with a vengeance on Tuesday. We have some new concepts that we're introducing at VMV Brands and the I Love CVille Network on Tuesday. I will tease it at that, but some new partnerships that are finalizing as we speak that will be rolled out next week. We're going to close by reminding you to check out the I Love CVille Daily Digest, 5 o'clock on Fridays, presented, Judah, by Ting Fiber Internet and Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Dr. Wagner changing people's lives through sports medicine, physical therapy, and chiropractic care. Dr. Wagner has your back. And how about $288 of savings from Ting Fiber Internet? Literally the best internet possible at the lowest price point possible. ilovecville.ting.com. I close with this message, and it's a message you heard from Scott, from Tisha, and from Jamie. Folks, hold on to hope. Hold on to hope. Find something, even if it's a glimmer of sunshine and positivity, that you can leverage and that you can bring into your life and you can utilize as a springboard for more hope and positivity. Okay? That's why earlier in the week I mentioned that there were 12,000 people on cruise ships that have been unable to get off a boat because of COVID-19 for much of 2020. Guys, we are above the mud. We're not dead. We're above the mud. Find a glimmer of something hopeful and positive and use that as a springboard for more hope and positivity in your life. We're a resilient country. We're resilient people. We will come out stronger than ever, and we will reflect on 2020 as the time where we were scared and uncertain, but a time that made us stronger as a country, as a commonwealth, and as a Charlottesville community. Find a glimmer of hope, keep it close to your heart, and use it as springboard to make this experience of COVID-19 something that we can manage. We can do this. We can do this. I know we can. I'm Jerry Miller. It's the I Love CVille Show.